On the line with us is our old friend Bill Press, the host of the Bill Press Show, nationally syndicated on radio and TV, Free Speech TV, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m., 6 to 9 a.m. He's a columnist with the Hill newspaper. He's the author of several books, including Bush Must Go and now the sequel, Trump Must Go. BillPressShow.com is his website. You can tweet him at BP Show. Bill, welcome back.
Hey, Tom, how are you? Good to talk to you. Yes, indeed. I always said not enough people read my book, Bush Must Go. So let's hope we can do better with Trump Must Go, right?
Well, and hopefully you're prescient because, he must go. And I hope all is well with you and Carol. And it's great to hear your voice. It's been too long since we've talked.
It has indeed, and we miss you and Louise here in Washington, D.C., so best to you both.
Thank you, Bill. So Trump must go. You've got this organized into chapters, which are kind of categories, bucket categories of things that he's done, and what's going on. But rather than doing it chronologically or categorically, let's rank these by criticality, by importance. What do you see as the main reasons why Trump must go? And then, the follow-up question would be, what do you see as the most practical ways to get him out?
All right, good questions. It's the how, when, and why, right? But on the why, you know what I think? And I start with this. You and I, we are policy people. We're policy nerds, right? We really get into domestic policy, foreign policy. That's our specialty. And that's what we look at any president. I mean, whether it's George W. Bush or Barack Obama. But with Donald Trump, I think you got to start with something else, which is Donald Trump, the person, just the obnoxious person that he is. And that's where I start. And I think that's where the American people have their most serious problems with Donald Trump. I mean, you may disagree with his policies, but this man as a person has proven he's a racist, he's a sexist, he's a self-proclaimed sexual predator, he's a pathological liar. You could go down the list, and just, I believe, unfit, unworthy of the office of President of the United States, and it's proven to be so. He's certainly not a person anymore that parents can say to their kids, here's your role model, right? You want to grow up and be like the President of the United States, whether he's Republican or Democrat. I remember as a young man in California how thrilled I was just to go out. I was taken by a friend of mine to see Air Force One sitting on the tarmac, right? It was Jerry Ford at the time. But who cares, right? The President of the United States. No matter, you looked up to him. He was your ideal, if you will, citizenship. And it's certainly not the case with Donald Trump. So having established that, then I look at his war on the environment, his war on immigrants, his war on our closest allies while he's cozying up to all the dictators of the world, and kind of walk through, hey, Tom, as you can imagine, the tough part was limiting it to 100.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so starting out here, Bill, starting out of the gate, Trump is small, petty, mean, nasty, a liar, a grifter, and people are starting to figure this out, and not a particularly deep thinker. He's a hustler. I mean, he got where he is by basically, the Lucky Sperm Club, his daddy giving him his money. But let's move into policy. What are the policies that Trump has been pursuing that might change under Mike Pence, or definitely would change if we had a Democrat?
Well, I think two of the most dangerous, and part of the problem here that we all have dealing with this is that we lose track of the impact of some of these policies. I really do think he's done enough damage already in 18 months or 19 months. It'll take us decades to recover, and I'm not exaggerating. And we don't focus on them enough because we get focused on this damn tweets every day, right? He sends us off on these wild tangents, but not that the stuff he says isn't worth commenting on. But for example, the Paris Climate Accords, I think that is hugely, look what's going on now with Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Maria last year and all the rest. And what are we doing? He's rolling back the clock on climate change in Paris. rolling back the clock on the new power plant rules that had been adopted under Obama, and on the new car emissions, which the CAFE standards had been approved by the auto industry to get 55 miles an hour by whatever it is, 2025 or 2050, whatever it is, right? But, he's just wiped them out.
Yeah.
Huge impact. I think the second one is the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, this was put together, as you know, by 7 nations, including the United States and Iran. He did what he said he wanted North Korea to do, which was, and North Korea hasn't done, totally put aside their nuclear weapons program for at least 15 years, saving the world from that threat of Iran becoming the next member of the nuclear club. And because Obama did it, Trump just wiped it out, right? Now, Iran, so far as we know, hasn't gone back to making nuclear weapons, but he's given them the green light to do so. So, I mean, those are just two that pop right in. And plus, I think his whole immigration policy has been so cruel, so mean, and so un-American. The zero tolerance policy, getting rid of the Dreamers program, which is a hugely successful program, and getting rid of the temporary protected status program for people from the Caribbean and from Central America.
Right.
Across the board. I mean, the real damage that he has done, which I wanted to document here as a first step. Way back, Thomas Jefferson, when he wrote the Declaration of Independence, his last lines of preface is, "Let the facts be submitted to a candid world," right? About why we have to overthrow George III.
Right.
Here are the facts submitted to a candid world about why we get rid of Donald Trump.
Well done. Now, the mechanism by which, in all probability, we will get rid of him will either be at the ballot box in 2 years, 2 years and a couple of months, or through an impeachment process. The ballot box would purge us of Pence as well, which, good riddance in my mind. He's as skeezy a right winger as Trump is pretending to be, but the impeachment proceeding would make Mike Pence president. Do you think that Pence has been? We haven't even discussed here Trump's coming into power with the help of a foreign power, with Russia, and God only knows who else. Russia, Israel clearly played a role in this as well, but not in the perfidious way necessarily that Russia did, but more in the kind of classic way of funding people through and positions and whatnot. But I'm guessing that the Saudis probably were involved there. Citizens United is there's no more limits on foreign governments interfering in our elections. So is it possible that Pence is up to his eyeballs in this? He was in charge of the presidential transition. He was involved with Manafort in the campaign. Is it possible that he's so far up to his eyeballs in this that an impeachment could be a twofer?
I don't know that. I'm not even sure that the process, I guess, it would allow for that. Right? It would be the first for sure. But you are absolutely right. Mike Pence is a total partner of Donald Trump. He is 100% on board. I think he knows maybe not every tweet that Donald Trump's going to do, but he is right in lockstep with Donald Trump every bit. That's why I have 100 reasons to dump Trump and one to keep him. Because I do think Mike Pence, because, as you say, he pretends to be this reasonable guy when he's really he's a true believer, a real extreme right-winger, and I think could be more effective in getting things done in Donald Trump. But I'm going to come back to how we get rid of him. Look, that's, in a sense, it's above my pay grade. He could face criminal charges by Robert Mueller. He could be impeached. He could be forced to resign to save his family members. It could be a combination of the above. He could be, let's hope, it will be voted out in 2020. I think there's an immediate step facing us, Tom, which is November 6th. Because if Democrats can take back the House, that puts a huge roadblock in the way of Donald Trump, at least on policy, on the legislation. And if Democrats can take back the Senate, that puts an additional roadblock, particularly on judges, those district court judges, appellate court judges, and, God forbid, another Supreme Court appointment.
Right. So it's time to make sure that your registration is intact and that you're not one of those millions who got bumped off the voter rolls by by Chris Kobach and company. We just learned in Georgia over 100,000 registered Democrats removed from the polls. Greg Palast reporting that this morning. It's incredible. Bill, thank you.
All right. Hey, Tom, great to join you. Trump must go.
Yeah, amen. Thanks, Bill Press. The Bill Press Show. BillPressShow.com is the website. The new book, Trump Must Go.